Aloha guys, this is JohnRemus.com TV, broadcasting to you live from the Ala Moana Shopping Center, and looking at the significance of this concept called LightWork, and actually making it work. You know, this is the response that I use for problems in my life, whether they're people or situations, and one of the underlying themes, of course, being peace of mind, positive law of attraction, and just making things nice for yourself and letting go of certain things and people as well, so that you can have what you want in your life. And so here's how it works, right? So let's say I'm walking and I think of some situation I'm having at work that I don't like, or person I don't like. All right, I take my hands like this, like kind of like a wand, like in magical fashion, and I beam towards that direction. Let's say it's towards this way, right? I imagine a beam of light, brilliant, beaming all the way at that person or situation, and it you know, imagining, you know, you can get creative with this. You have to be imaginative in order to, because when you make it fun, it's easier to visualize the bright white light. And you know, you may have seen this popularized in people doing it around a person's body as a sphere of protective light, or the shield, or you know, imagining white light in your bed before you go to sleep to provide a safe space. And you know, all the like, right? That all has to do with light work. And so you can do it ideally, you know, you get yourself to, let's say you're having a problem in your life. First you extract yourself, right? You don't want to, this isn't something that you want to do when you're immediately experiencing danger or a problem. You want to seek and give space when you've been dealing with conflicts. And then proceed to, once you have that privacy, you want to do this visualization, and it necessitates one to think of smiles too. You have to think of whether it's yourself or other people. Think of them smiling. In addition, in a complement to doing the light work. So, for example, these cars down here, I can go like that, and I can beam a brilliant beam. I can beam all these buildings, imagine all the people in them receiving the light and grabbing it as a sphere of bright white light, and it just being a positive and warming sensation. Of course, seeing their associated smiles because of the rewarding spiritual blessing, and you know, just doing this whenever you need to do it. And you can, you know, it's important to initially condition your initial space. So wherever it is that you are, you know, you want to like beam and just beam like your feet, beam yourself. And by the way, there's an organization called Tsukio Mahikari from Japan. They do some of this, but they don't really talk about actively imagining the white light. They just kind of use their fingers like this and imagine it's kind of like somebody's intentionally concentrating spiritual power, but they don't do the white light like visualization specifically. And that, I think, is what distinguishes. And a lot of these organizations like that and others make it so that only certain, they put this exclusivity on it. They say you can only do this if you're granted power by the hierarchy of the organization or religion, or if you have done rituals. But no, I say just do it right now. Of course, you want to at least minimum know the details I provide in this video, so that you can, when you do the light work, you're actually able to focus and do it efficiently. You know, like sometimes I'll spin as if I have a hula hoop. I'll spin, and that helps me to concentrate. Sometimes I'll stand out up, you know, on a mountaintop or something, and I'll beam the light all throughout. And you can beam it, and you can imagine you can even imagine that you're a sphere of bright white light and just go through and see people, you know, watch the sphere of light go through and people grabbing it and joyfully. Also, it can be useful to imagine another person beaming. Like, let's say you have somebody in a hospital. You can, and they also do this technique in something called PSI seminars. PSI seminars. What they do is you imagine somebody's that's having suffering, and then you beam brilliant. You can imagine that somebody else is next to them. So, say for example, two people walking by, or the person at the hospital beaming the sick person on the bed. They're beaming at them like this, and you can imagine in your head, you can imagine that person beaming the sick person. So it's very abstract. You can pretty much do whatever you want, as long as it involves smiles and positive things and light. And so that's a wrap. I mean, do it on a local or global level. Do it for your house, beam the environment where you work. If you're having problems, if there's somebody you don't like, imagine them happy, grabbing a sphere of light, or you yourself, imagine you're there beaming them and they're smiling. And what this does is it helps you to transcend any negative thoughts. So it has that simple function of providing an alternative thinking, that modality which will attract something nice. But also you can do it for large scale things, like say beam a whole city far off. You can imagine like you're looking at the earth, and you might do something like beam a mountain and imagine a spiral of bright light spinning like the Milky Way galaxy, and then that kind of activates and then it sends that beams, that you use that as a satellite dish to beam across all the way at another city in the world, and imagine the light bouncing off a mountaintop somewhere else in the world and people grabbing it, like I said, grabbing it like it's a cloud, grabbing balls of white light, putting it in them. Imagine other people beaming, and just try it out. Like, do an actual experiment. Try doing it throughout the days. Set a reminder or alarm to do it an hour each day, or whenever there's a problem, or whenever you're trying to transcend situations. And it really, for me, it's had a positive synchronizational effect. That meaning the synchronicity of making things synchronous, and in the sense of, that's what people want, right? And that's why they do prayer and whatnot. But the limitations of prayer are, you might actually be thinking of a bad situation over in your head and asking some higher power to please help, But what if you can do something yourself like this, like actively invite? Prayer does work if you're praying repetitive mantras like, quote unquote, God, make me strong, I'm so strong. And nowadays, recent prayer, people praying, they always start off with please God, and then they proceed to say stuff like, as if they're the quote unquote God. They say stuff like, they say they're praying for their son. They say, let Michael be strong and blah blah blah. But really, it's the power of the word, and it's that effect it has on the consciousness mind, or subconscious mind as well. And that's what you want. You want to, like, that's why I listen to YouTube TED Talks and different things when I'm working or whatnot. And what that does is it has an effect on the mind, and it gets you into a certain thought space. And that's what the goal of all this programming is to transition from being just at randomly affected by people and situations in your life to you're intentionally, and you're using your mind as a tool, and you're getting results. I feel like I've gotten results. I've been able to discern things in psychology and sociology, and and so on that I otherwise wouldn't have if I didn't have the level of coordination that I did, that I believe the LightWork allows me. This positive, maintaining this positive, and there could be other meditations or active meditations that have a similar effect. But whatever it is, it's something that you get to do actively, and it's something you can do throughout the day. You can do it, you can do it when you're waiting in line or in traffic. And part of it is you want to do something like listen to a specific song, or you can even, I'm gonna record a brief tutorial where you can just listen to that, and that will allow you to follow the process, go through the process. But you want to do something that keeps you focused, like maybe even chewing gum, or just standing up and spiraling, like if you have to hula hoop, like I was saying. Just stuff along that lines to keep you mentally focused while you're doing this process. And thanks for considering. Aloha.